Hey everyone. So after the last big release for App Builder, we've added a lot of new capabilities to the platform and product. So what I'm just going to do in this video is take a few minutes to do a simple example of jumping into a project and getting some data from a server onto the screen using some different components, but also while going through that journey, point out some of the new things that we think you should check out inside the product. Cool. So the first thing that we're going to look at is a layout for this app that we're building. So if I go into my pages, I can now see that I have or can add my own custom layouts to my project. I've gone ahead and created this default layout, which I'll use on the page that we're just about to create. But essentially it's a layout with a header, a footer, and then the view component, which is added to the center of the screen. Now, if I go back to my pages, I'm going to create a new page and call this our tasks page, where it's going to be at /tasks. And the layout I'm going to choose as my default layout. Now, if I wanted to, I could also do some things like add requests or custom code that gets executed at these different navigation events, such as before the route is entered, before the route's updated, or before it is exited. However, at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and create this new page. Now, on that page, what we're going to do is we're going to add a table to this page. So let's add a table component. There we go, tables on the page, and now we're just going to say this is called a table 1. And in the properties, we want to give it some data, but we want to get this dynamically from the server. So we need to connect to a backend. I'm going to go here to my resources, and we're going to see that I could connect to any REST API or GraphQL API. However, I can more easily connect to an 8-base backend. And I'm going to go ahead and just say I'm going to use my SuperTask backend. Now, when I click that, it just configures it for me where I can now jump in and say, okay, well, this is the API I'm connecting to, the workspace ID has been set up, the environment, all that type of stuff. So for the most part, I don't really have to worry about anything. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write the request that I need to send to this resource. So if I go into my requests area here, I can say that I'm going to add just this as a global request for now, where I'm going to go in and drop in from the backend that I had set up the query that I want to run. I'm going to drop that in there, save and run. Cool, I don't have permission. I have to enable this in the backend. So what I'm just going to do is make this a public API. I'm going to go down to my app services, go to my guest role, and then on the tasks, say that anyone can read all the tasks. That's totally fine. So now if I go back and I rerun this, cool, we're getting all the data back. Now that data is being stored in the state management system, which is new and improved. So now in state management, while we could go see that the request, which we just named request, at this point has the tasks list with all the items in it right there, we also can see that we can add custom state entries to our state management. So if we wanted to store any custom value in state, whether that's programmatically stored or set manually for some different reason, we can do that as well. Also, what's nice is now we want to access these values down here. And as you can see inside state management, there's these little clipboard icons, which if you click it, it's going to copy the path to that reference. What do I mean by that? So I just clicked it. And now if I go to the table input here for the data, I'm going to erase all that we have there. I'm going to give it handlebars syntax and paste in what I copied, which is request data task list items. It gave me the reference. Now I'm just going to go ahead and say auto generate the columns on this component, which I did, and now we can see that all that data is being displayed inside our table. Now the data property has been there for the table for a while now. However, what's really important is that we also have now standard properties such as the ID of a component. You can add a title, you can add different class names, all this different type of stuff. So now at this point, if I want to, I can go in and style my table a little bit or my component. So for example, let's say I wanted to give this table some margin. I'm just going to say 20 margin applied to all areas, as well as what we're going to do is give it a little bit of background here. So I'm just going to say that the background color is white. Cool. Now, some more important, more global types of styling that we can now do, which is pretty cool, is if I go down to my theme, one thing that's really awesome is I can do font management, so I can import fonts from Google Font or upload custom font types for my project, as well as manage media queries when I'm working on responsive design. Now, I can really quickly add a media query to my project, give it a name, and specify a min and max value. Or I could just edit some of the existing ones, which App Builder is going to pre-populate for you. Now, those become usable when you're working on your pages. So, for example, if I went back to this page and I wanted to start working on this page when it is in small, right? So it's going to adjust the viewport to hit within those breakpoints that I set. However, if I wanted to add specific styling rules to that breakpoint, I can go to the media query rules, and here I'm given a CSS sheet with each of those different media queries pre-populated, so I can start adding my custom CSS rules. Now, the last thing that I'm going to jump through with you really quickly is talking about deployment. So when you go ahead and deploy your app, App Builder is going to specify or give it a unique URL, which you can access it live over the internet. However, if you need to, you can go ahead and map a custom domain from your DNS provider to that custom URL. You're also able to specify different version numbers, and when you click deploy, it's going to show you all of the deployment logs that are happening. It's going to live stream them right to you, so you get all the updates in real time. However, if you do go into your settings and go to the deployment section of your project, you will see that we've added some new capabilities for you to do things like upload your own SSL certificate if you are or do want SSL for a custom domain, some different instructions on connecting that custom domain, as well as the ability of enabling a CDN distribution of the app that you've built. So I hope that this video gave you some cool ideas of some of the new features that we've added to App Builder and how you can use them to build some really fun projects when working within the beta. There's a lot more detail that we left out of this video just for time's sake, so definitely keep an open mind as you jump in and start exploring, and as always, we'd love to hear your feedback. Happy developing.